Hey everybody, it is Michelle and we are live. Y'all, let me just tell you, I missed yesterday because my new PC that I was using could not handle the live and I broke it. So I had to go get a new one. So yeah, I spent yesterday trying to get this laptop installed and ready to go. So here's keeping our fingers crossed because this is like the same type of PC. And I'm using the PC for these because my Macs are limping along and I'm trying to do everything I can to baby them so that it'll give me time to get the newer ones. And so, yeah. So, y'all, I'm just going to hope that this one can handle the YouTube. All right. But anyway, I missed you. I did. I missed you. And plus, my allergies are acting up. Boy. So I just took some allergy meds and, excuse me. So if y'all see me with Kleenex and stuff, you understand. You understand. Okay. So anyway, uh, yesterday. So, like I said, yesterday was a whirlwind because I had to get a new PC, and the one that I had was new. When I say new, I'm talking about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, people, 2 weeks, and we managed to do some things with it. So, we're back on track. But anyway, today I want to just have a little chat and everything, and talk to you guys. And so, if you didn't check out yesterday's podcast, please do me a solid and go over there and do that. And yesterday's podcast, I talked about the sinister side of evil. And I'm gonna tell you, I was stumbling all over that word sinister. I don't know what it was yesterday, but it was a hard press. But today I'm talking about the cure for oversharing. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because the tendency that we have today is to be more socially approachable to each other. Come on, let's face it. The internet has opened us up globally. And so whereas we used to be a little more reserved and circumspect, like iron people, now we have had a few years under our belt to get used to the social aspect of the world. And even with that, we have quote unquote influencers, and influencers are getting right up there with what the mass media is able to do, like your news folks and all that kind of stuff. And so because of that, we're playing by some new rules, new normals, and all and everything. So I wanted to just chat a little bit and talk with you about how not to overshare, why you don't want to overshare, and what you can do once you get over that, build that new muscle of how to, still keep it classy, still keep it social and everything. And y'all, if y'all hear boom, boom, boomings, I don't know why, but my neighbor, anyway, so I digress. Let me get back on this. And hey, give me a shout out. Let me know you're there, or whatever. Because I see people. I just don't know if you're actually listening. So anyway, let me know because I kind of like feed off of you guys. And like I said, I'm trying to do these as often as possible. And so hopefully I'll be able to do this very frequent and you guys can ask me questions and all of that. And yeah, we can keep it going. So anyway, so the cure for oversharing. Now, the first thing is I do want to say this, that there are some personality types and some personality deficiencies where that's just going to be the case. And I even qualify a few of them on the podcast, but I'm going to say go listen to the podcast for that part. And today I want to bring out just a few more things that I didn't necessarily cover in the podcast. And that is with oversharing. What we, I guess, hope to do is the exact opposite of what we get, meaning that I know when I was younger and trying to be likable and all of those things that matter at those particular times in our life, I would just share so much. And then I would gild the lily, like, look how great I am. And guess what? The average person really does not care. They don't. And so it took me it took me professional training on how to become more astute, more shrewd, clever, and how to interact sociably with people. Because filters, smelters. I didn't have filters, honey. You want to know? I'll tell you. And my mother used to be like, why? Why can't you just lie? If somebody asks you a question, you don't have to answer it. And she would just be like, ah. and, and I was like, I'm thinking if I had a kid like I was, I would be like, I'm about to go to jail for choking them constantly because I'll be just talking. And it was annoying and all that kind of stuff. And these are the things that I had to learn. So I'm gonna just give you some cures and some stuff. Hopefully, leave you better than I found you, and all of that. And so one of the things that I had to realize was that you need to be constantly qualifying that person that you're talking to or people that you're talking to. Have you ever had it where you go somewhere and y'all maybe have to stand in line, and so you stand in line with people and y'all are all frustrated and tired and you start to commiserate, or better yet, you're in a waiting room and you strike up a conversation. If you find that within 10 minutes of talking to that person, or even if it's an hour, you should not be telling them about everything that happened with your surgery to graphic detail, recovery, and all of that. You should not be telling them all of your business, or better yet, you shouldn't be telling them all your family's business. Ask me how I know. One of the things that we can do, and I talked about this actually on a podcast called Are You a Great Listener? And that is we can pause. So just observing people when I go out and about. Now I'm seeing that because we are thrust into these circumstances and trained actually to have conversations through comments and snappy little anecdotes and pithy statements online. We don't have a sense of how to have a true conversation. And that is, not only are we just waiting till you take a breath so I can put what I want in there, we're not taking a moment to reset ourselves and to actually process what's being said. I have observed, overheard, I wasn't eavesdropping because they were talking loud, but observed where people are having two different conversations. They're not even progressing. I mean, I've even heard this, and if this is the case, then if someone you go through all the stuff that you want to say, and someone goes back and says, well, what I was saying was, child, number one, that person did not hear anything you said, probably didn't care to hear it. Number two, that person is not willing to conversate with you. That person is only wanting to get their point across, and you're an audience. And likewise, if you catch yourself doing that, then that's a problem too. But with this oversharing part, um, we get to the point where we let down our defenses too fast and we share things too much. We don't understand our own boundaries that we need to enforce on ourselves. And by doing this little thing of pausing, and what I'm talking about is somebody says something, they have a stop, okay? And you can do like this. And start. What I did was I took a 4-second pause. Now, one of two things are going to happen, and you'll actually be able to qualify. Excuse me, you guys. You'll actually be able to qualify how well of a listener the person is. You take that 4 seconds to think, and it doesn't even have to be 4, it can be a couple of seconds to respond. And if that person jumps back in with something else, that means that they are not a good conversationalist, or they are not really certain on what's going on with the conversation. And that's a tip off, not an indictment that I don't even talk to them, but it's a tip off to let you know they are not at the level of what I need to be able to share these deep things. Now, it's one thing if you're talking to somebody and you've prefaced it like, I need some advice, you trust, know, like this person, and over the years, they have shown you to be a good listener, good confidant. That's one thing. But I'm talking about just your everyday conversations. Maybe it's even some of your friends that you like to kick it with, go out with and stuff. And if you're finding this, and I'm sorry, y'all, snag that's irritating me. So please forgive me for playing with my hair while I'm trying to talk to you and my nose. But hey, this is real. But what I'm saying is as you continue to find out what level of conversation you can have with someone, bank that. Use that as a wisdom indicator, because just because someone is able to go deep does not mean that you need to go deep with them. My grandmother used to always say, your business get out because you tell it, or now, unless TMZ finds out. But anyway, what I do want to say is you need to be qualifying those people. If you are having a conversation with them and they drift off, are you really going to divulge deep, sensitive information? And for God's sake, please, please don't talk to these people about other people's business that you're privy to. That is one of the biggest parts of oversharing that I'm seeing, observing, and trying to warn people about. Don't get so good into the conversation that you just start spilling everything. And that spilling the tea kind of thing, colloquialism is overplayed now. And I actually sometimes remind folks of where the root of what spilling the tea came from. Spilling the tea did not mean that the tea was the gossip. It meant two different things. Spilling the tea meant that maybe you were having a conversation over tea, and what you said or shared was so shocking that they spilled the tea, kind of like clutch the pearls. Or a deeper one would be spilling the tea, pouring the tea out, so that during these times, tea leaves, they would settle on the bottom, and people could divine from reading the tea leaves. And so you drink the tea, is usually what would happen. You would drink enough of the tea so that the little residue, they would spill the rest of it out, and then look at how the tea leaves clung to the cup, or sometimes they would plop them out and read them there. And that's what spilling the tea was, to get the insights, the gossip, the little dark parts of what was really going on with you or someone that you wanted to talk about. Isn't that something? I mean, y'all, that is, to me, that is just, I don't know. It's just amazing to me that we could go from that so many years ago to having it now where it's a colloquialism of, oh, I got something to tell you. So, yeah, but even with that type of person that was quote unquote spilling tea, professed to be a professional at what they were trying to do. See, that's what happens. It came off. I knew it was something going on. Professed at what they were trying to do. And also, the whole atmosphere of that was supposed to be somewhat sacred, because this was supposed to be secretive. And one of the things that I realize when people overshare is that they don't realize what kind of tone needs to be set. There are things that I'll say to someone and I will preface it very clearly, like, are you able to hold my confidence? Because if not, please tell me now. Don't make it where it's just so titillating that you say, I'm not supposed to say nothing, but let me tell you what. Because no. Also, identify, does this person always bring you somebody else's information? Does the majority of your time and your conversation with them revolve around you talking about other people instead of about yourselves, what's going on with you? Because that's going to actually dictate a lot of how you qualify them as well. And so let me talk a little bit about the different qualifications. Qualifications range from casual stranger acquaintance all the way up to confidant. And a lot of people use uh, the task of a confidant when they're talking to a total stranger. The more information you give to someone energetically, the more power you have. And let me also preface this: at any given time, you are working, even if you're not consciously aware of it, you are exchanging and moving back and forward between dominance and submission. Dominance and submission. And some people overshare because they believe that that is their way to maintain dominance in the interaction. If you're always talking, then you're holding the floor. And that's not necessarily the case. If you notice that there is someone who's very quiet and you're doing most of the talking, you're not really dominating. They're collecting information about you, passing possibly judgments about you and everything else, especially if it's supposed to be peer to peer. There are times when I'm talking to someone and they're quiet. I'm like, I'm sorry, let me let you go because this is not happening. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And then sometimes they'll even admit, I'm sorry, my attention was, I was like, well, let me let you go because uh, this is supposed to be a dialogue, not a monologue. I'm not supposed to be spewing out everything and you taking it in to be able to use. I'm not here to entertain you or whatever. This is a conversation. And I'm not saying it's snippishly. I'm just saying that when it comes to having interactions with people, we always need to be qualified whether they've earned the right to know certain things about us. Because sometimes you're giving people ammunition to form a dossier, if you will, about who you are. Because everybody that's nice to you, everybody that shares something with you, does not mean that they mean you good. Let's just be honest. It's not about them even trying to be sinister or be mean. It just is what it is. And that brings me to this point, and that is reputation and character. Growing up, my grandmother was like, you need to work on your character and your reputation. They're so hard to get. And she said, be careful because you can ruin it fast and it will take a lifetime to rebuild. And this is the part that I always liked. And she was like, your character and your reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room and they don't think it'll ever get back to them what you say. You can use that in private understandings as well as public. And that means that if you're trying to brand yourself, same thing. Branding is what your possible or your real customers, clients, or whatever, what they say and think about you when you're not around. And so if you look back and you say, oh my gosh, uh, I do the most talking. I'm the one talking about my business, other people's business, and I'm the one always having to reach out to people. You might be a good candidate for this. So, a big cure that I didn't cover in today's podcast, because I knew I wanted to share it with y'all, was to instill mystique. One of the most sexy things about people is when you don't know everything there is to know about them, or when you don't believe that you figured them out. It makes it very alluring because you're able to have something to look forward to discover, whether it be in a business relationship, a personal relationship, a romantic one. Always leave some mystery. Always have people wondering, I wonder, because it keeps them coming back. Whether they know it consciously or subconsciously, it is just something. And the reason why is because we are made to solve. We are made to figure out the puzzle, close the open loop. We are made for this stuff. It'll hound us until We get it. Our dreams will even try to take on the mantle of solving the mystery, where we'll be dreaming about people or things or whatever. And I want to say this. You notice I didn't say become a puzzle. No, because there's a difference between a puzzle and a mystery. And as a writer, because I have to know this and employ that in how I construct my novels, I'm gonna share it with you right now. You ready? All right, here you go. So a puzzle has a solution. It is made for the purpose of giving you enjoyment, trial, and experience and obstacles before you get to the solution. So it's made to be solved. Whereas a mystery is an ongoing thing that is perplexing. It is something that has many puzzles to it. It is something that is always leading you further and further into figuring it out, but it's ongoing. A mystery is basically something that doesn't necessarily have a solution. It's a perplexing. Like, for instance, a mystery could be, what is the meaning of life? Are there aliens? No, I'm just playing, because people really want to make that one a puzzle. So I'm gonna let people just have that one. But things like, um, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Just different little things that are supposed to be made. Come on, y'all. Now y'all know that's funny. You gotta laugh with me, okay? And I'm sitting up here trying to make sure that I breathe because of these allergies. So thank y'all for listening and staying with me today. But yeah, but being able to become a person that has some mystique to you. And you might be saying, well, Michelle, how can I do that? Well, one of the things I will say is identify a core component of yourself, and then make sure you withhold some of that. You see it all over the place. Like, there are times when people who are famous, they have to do a lot of press junkets. They have, to do a lot of things. There's this husband wife musical act that I really love called Johnny Swim, and they do this. And what they do is they their name of their group, because that's not their names, of course, but the name of their group is called Johnny Swim. Not Johnny Swims, but Johnny Swim. And people always want to know, what does that name mean? Or how did you come up with that name? And at first they were like, we're not going to tell you. But then they got very coy with it. And they did things like they'll tell a story about it. And each interview is a different story. And that's how we came up with Johnny Swim. And so it's a running joke and mystery that keeps people pulled in, keeps people excited about them, because there's a bit of mystery. So hold back something. If you have been in a relationship for a while, a marriage, and one of the things that can take the spark out of wanting to work on that relationship each day is if the partner feels like they know everything there is to know about you. Go get you some business. My mama used to say, if you get boring, go get you a life. Go get you some business. Go do something. And don't tell them. You know, sometimes I think people just really need a reason to pursue always, but never being able to quite capture. That is part of the passion about it. So get mysterious. Employ what you need to shroud some of yourself. Don't ever let it be where people think that they know you all the way through, because you become boring. And when you and you're constantly talking, constantly sharing, it's also very tiring for people. It's one thing if you're talking about a subject that you're both impassioned in and you're having equal dialogue, equal input. But if you're just sitting up there with a big old soliloquy, and every time somebody talks to you, they're like, oh my gosh, she just talks so much. Good God, she just talks so much. You're draining. And you're doing the very thing that you don't want to do. You're not as engaging as you think. So I covered a little bit here, but There's more on the podcast, of course, because this is a chat. This is, a little kind of like after the show kind of thing. What I want you to do is seriously, I want you to hold back. And when I say hold back, both take a pause before you respond, because you want to check and see, is what I'm about to say too intimate? Is it TMI? Is it something that they don't deserve to know? Is it something that they need to be vetted that they can handle? Is it something that is not appropriate for this particular type of interaction? If it's an associate, why in the world would you start gossiping about intimate truths of other people's business? They're going to look at you like, I can't tell them nothing. Because if they're willing to tell me all this stuff about this other person and I don't know them like this, I'm going to keep my mouth shut, because they'll take my stuff and they'll share it with other people. All the while you think you're being cool and, oh, like me and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, nope, 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 nope. So be wary of oversharing. Control. I don't like to use that word when I'm talking about emotions. Restrain and self-manage the need to just, blah, 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 do those things. And then also, please, if you can, find a way to have mystery about yourself. We love following the mystery of people. We love following folks who won't let us necessarily know a lot of things. One of the actors that I think about when I think about this mystique is Keanu Reeves. That man, he has got mystique down to a science, and he is enduring because of it. Because just when you think you know, here he go again. I'm serious. You can become a student of this by observing people who actually have influence. This is the last thing I want to say before I let y'all go today, because I gotta go. I gotta go do some work with some clients. So anyway, what I want to say is this: by learning the art of knowing how much to share, with whom, and when, you are going to start to get benefits and gifts for being able to do this, like becoming influential. Mhm. Also, becoming very respected, being said that you have good character, or that you're a great listener, or that you're a great confidant. The inverse will start to happen when you slow yourself down, you choose appropriate information. You will start to have people let you in on secrets and things, because you become a trusted advisor. And that is a very powerful place to be. And don't betray when you become a powerful advisor. Don't start telling the stuff and being, oh, I got some exciting news. Control, restrain, and maintain and manage your verbosity, your excitement. Hold on to that stuff. It is not for everyone's consumption. Treat it as the special gift it is. When clients tell me their dreams, their hopes, their secrets, their insights, I put that in a virtual treasure box for them. And they even say, I was talking to someone else, who uses my consulting services, and I never even knew you work with them. You're not supposed to. Or they were telling me that you wouldn't be happy if they told me what you said to them, and I'm like, you know, people can glean how you are when they work with you, and they can have an embedded trust, because you know how not to overshare, you know how to listen, you know what to say, how deep to take it, how shallow to keep it, because a shallow conversation can do wonders. It really can. When you know how to keep it light, medium, go deep, go back and forth, you become that influential person, that person of great reputation, of character. You become a trusted advisor. You become privy to information that you would have never gotten if you did not learn to shut thy mouth. Yes, there are a lot of gifts to being gleaned to curing our need to overshare. So I gotta go. I hope that this helps you. Please, in the comments. Oh, don't forget. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check the comments for those things. And when you subscribe, don't forget to don't forget to hit the bell. And if you're on your cell phone, I think it's going to ask you to prioritize it. And but hit that bell so that you can get notifications when I go live and when I post new stuff. All right. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Comment. Let me know. Talk to me in the comments. I'll check them. I will. All right. And so I appreciate you, dear one. I want you to be the best you can be. I want wisdom to swaddle you and bless you and keep you and hold you. And so this is MichelleSpiva, your practical priestess of wisdom, ending another chat for our wisdom smack. All right. I'm going to see you later. Bye. We made it. We made it. It didn't cut off. Yay, yay, yay. Bye, y'all.